Hi guys, it's Tiny Tay, and today I am back with some college shenanigans. I have decided to create a College 101 series for all of my incoming freshmen or even just people in college who need some college tips. I am going to tell you guys and give you guys some advice, some information, and help you guys try and stay positive and excited for college. It's an exciting time in your life, and I'm going to try and help you guys with that. So today I have created some tips to having a roommate. A lot of the times college is the first time that you will be living with someone else or someone that you are not close with. I mean, in some cases you do get to pick your roommate. However, you probably have not lived with that person before, and just because you like that person might have some quirks that you didn't know about before you signed up to be their roommate. Especially if you guys don't get to meet and hang out before. I know some people are lucky enough to do that, but for a lot of out-of-state people, social media is the only way that they can connect. And although social media is vast and wide, there's really nothing like living, 100 feet across from each other. You can sit your head up in your bed and see right into their bed. It's completely different no matter what you probably have experienced before, especially because college is already such a exciting but definitely scary time. I mean, you're maybe away from your parents for the first time, you may be nervous about classes, or you may not know what to expect. That's also why I'm helping to make this College 101 series for anyone who needs that extra help and advice. So let's get started with my tips to having a roommate. The first tip is respect. That is a tip for every aspect of life, but especially when living with someone else. Respect, their things, respect their time, respect their space. I don't know why that was so hard. Respect their space. And just be respectful. If you haven't watched my college roommate story already, be sure to check that out, because I did have a terrible roommate situation. So I feel like I'm able to give these tips from a different perspective. Although her and I did respect each other until, the last few weeks of it, respect went a long way for as long as we were living together with our circumstances. Just respect. Talk to them with respect. Act with respect for yourself. Just be respectful. Another thing is, again, with the respect, even if they gave you permission to use something before, ask again before you use it again. Because they may feel a different way now. That item may mean more to them now. It's just a respectful thing to do. Even if they allowed you to use it before, that doesn't mean they want you using it every day. Especially if it's something that maybe they are using every day too. Like, I know roommates share stuff, but I mean like things like mouthwash, or even something as simple as like a curling iron or a makeup brush. That may be something that was a part of their everyday routine, but they let you use it just once, and now you're using it every day, and that's inconsiderate. Along with that, a lot of colleges, and my college, do make you sign a kind of roommate agreement and contract, and kind of asking like what you expect from a roommate, and like, do you sleep with the TV on? Do you mind having friends over? What time do you go to bed? Those kind of things. Those are things that they ask you when you initially apply for housing as well. However, it's more set in stone when you've already moved in with that person, and you guys should go over that contract together and, talk about things, communicate, basically. However, that contract can still be in place, and things can come up that were not on the contract. And with that being said, you should just set those boundaries and make it clear what you expect from your roommate up front. Make it clear that you expect that the light be off by, midnight every night. Make it clear that you expect for their side to be swept, or their side to be clean, or for, something that's not too hard to ask. Make it clear that you expect, for the TV to be turned off, because that was one of the breaking points in my roommate situation. You have to be clear. Don't put something on the sheet that you are not okay with, because that sheet will come back and be like, oh, well, you said you were okay with sleeping with the TV if the volume was low, or if the show wasn't scary, and then you want the TV turned off completely. Well, that's not fair, because in your roommate agreement you signed that you were okay with the TV being on. So really just be clear in setting those expectations and be firm in what you expect, because compromise is a big part of it, but that can tell you right away moving into each other, whether it's a dorm room or an apartment, that you guys may not be compatible if you can't share something as simple as the TV being on, or something as simple as the trash not being taken out. Along with that, make it clear if you expect that person to take out their trash and you to take out your trash, or anyone can take out anyone's trash, or you need to make those things clear, because, you know, if your roommate, he or she is changing the garbage every time and you're not doing it at all, they can start to feel, you know, upset, because they feel like now they're handling your slack because maybe they didn't make that clear at the beginning. So be sure to be clear with your expectations. That is extremely important. That is almost as important as respect. So after that, I have tell your roommate about any potential problems. As many of you know who are returning subscribers to my channel, I have asthma, I have allergies, I have medical conditions, and that's something that you need to be upfront with your roommate about, because say that, like in my situation, if you haven't watched the video, be sure to check out the video. You will know that she was sleeping with the window open and the fan on, and that was not conducive to my lifestyle, as that made it harder for me to breathe. So that's just something you gotta tell your roommate about, any potential problems like that, especially if it's like medical conditions, or if you know that that's a routine that you're into. Like, say you like talking to your significant other every night on the phone, tell your roommate that, so they know what to expect when 11 o'clock hits and you're still on FaceTime, you know, with your schniggum boo bear. You need to let that person know of any potential problems, as well as they should let you know of any potential problems. Like for me, I also have sleep apnea, so sometimes I am also a restless sleeper. So sometimes when I go to sleep, I feel like I haven't slept at all. If my roommate's turning on the light, getting ready for their 8:30 a.m. class, and I felt like I haven't slept all night, that's definitely going to make me grumpy, and that may ruin my morning, especially if my class doesn't start till 10. Tell your roommate of these potential problems. It can help get things worked on faster than once they become a problem, and now you're in my situation where you're up all night with your RAs and you have a text the next day and all this other stuff. So just be clear with your expectations, and again, tell them of any potential problems. Next, I have be quiet. I know this is simple, but once you're living with someone else, you may not notice all the loud things you used to do. For example, watching videos on your phone, clicking excessively if you play games on your laptop or anything, chewing with your mouth open, slurping. Those kind of loud things you may not have realized you were doing before, and you may not realize how loud they actually are until you're living with someone who may already be fed up with you, and now you're slurping and that's their last straw, and then they explode on you. So just be quiet. I know it's simple, but it's very important, especially when, like I said, FaceTiming, phone calls, YouTube videos, those important things, because first of all, your roommate doesn't want to hear that, but also I'm sure you don't want your roommate hearing about you telling your schniggums boo-boo about why you were upset in class today. Like, you want to have that privacy for yourself, but you also want to give them the privacy that they deserve, and that's why it's so important to have headphones, to use common areas, and to, I don't want to say not always be in your room, but if you're doing something that can be intrusive to someone else, go in the common area. You know, take a break from being in your room. Go to the library, go get lunch with someone else, go just eat lunch by yourself, anything. And again, along with that, alone time is so important in college. Not only is it just important for studying and self-care, honestly, like, it's so just nice to lay in the bed after a long day and have like 30 minutes of quiet time, 30 minutes to play videos on your phone with earbuds. Like, that's just important to have for not only you, but your roommate too. Quiet time and alone time is important, and that's another reason why you should leave your room sometimes, to give your roommate a chance to do things that maybe they're not comfortable around you. Like, I know my roommate did yoga. I never saw her do yoga, but she did yoga, and when I would come back, her yoga mat would be out sometimes. So, you know, alone time is important. Next on the list is ask before inviting friends in. This is vital because one time I remember my roommate invited literally 6 of her friends over, and I was taking a quiz and I couldn't concentrate obviously because they were being so loud. So I left the room just to go into a common area to finish my quiz. And when I came back, I left my keys in the room, and of course her and her friends were no longer in the room. Yeah, so then some colleges do make you pay to unlock your room once you've been locked out after too many times, or even on the first time. So that's just not something that you want to have to pay for just because, your roommate didn't ask before inviting people over. Also, people value their privacy and respect, and if you're like me, I brought a lot of stuff with college to me, and a lot of people have expensive or sentimental things in that room, and just anything can come up anything could come up missing, and anything can happen to it. I'm not saying, your friends are thieves, but statistics show. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a respect thing. Ask before inviting people over, especially just if you care and want to create that level of respect with your roommate. Do small things like that so that they know that you're being considerate of them. Along with that, some people do have past trauma, and maybe you think that inviting a boy over at 10:30 is cool, but maybe that person feels uncomfortable and now they don't want to go to sleep. It's just the little things like that. Or maybe you're letting your boyfriend sleep over in you guys' dorm, but your boyfriend doesn't live there, and again, that is that other person's room, so they need to be able to feel comfortable sleeping and doing the things that they need to do with their night routine as well. It's just simply being considerate, and asking before inviting friends over is something that is extremely considerate and important, especially because I know my friend group always hung out in another friend's room because my roommate was not the most easygoing, fun person, and she would be, not in a bad way, but I know that she would be upset if I invited all 4 or 5 of my people in my friend group over. So why would I create that extra unneeded drama when we could just hang out in one of their rooms, and 2 of the people in the room shared a room. 2 of the people in the group shared a room, so it was okay that all of our friend group hung out in that one room. Also, along with that, going to your friends' rooms and your friends coming to your room, please ask before eating their food, ask before going into their mini fridges, ask before going through their closets. Again, you want to be respectful of not only your roommate, but your friends as well, especially because college is a time where people are strapped for money, and that may be the only snacks that they can afford until next week. So please, just be considerate. I know, obviously, everyone is going to know their level of friendship within their friends, but even so, that person may be having a bad day, and you eating their fruit snacks may just be the cherry on top. So please, just be respectful, ask before eating people's food, because that is something that people do get very angry about. Okay, and next we had ask before spraying any perfume, painting nails, or spraying air freshener. Also cleaning products. I know, some cleaning products take my breath, and that's probably because I have asthma, but with that, obviously no one's going to be cleaning your room in college but you, so just ask before using Clorox wipes because that is a strong smell, or ask before using Windex because, again, a strong smell. And if you are going to use those things and your roommate is okay with that, be sure to open a window and turn on the fan just to get it all ventilated, and then it can be closed right after, just because you don't want that fume smell smelling up your whole room, to be very honest. Also, nail polish and those super strong smells, it's just consider to ask before, especially because nail polish does give people headaches. The smell of nail polish gives a lot of people headaches. That's not uncommon. And with air freshener and me, I diffuse essential oil, so that would always be something that I asked her about before I did that, because I know not all essential oils are people's favorite smells, because some of them are pretty earthy, and just because I like that doesn't mean that she likes that. Also, air freshener air freshener has a variety of so many different kinds of smells, and maybe just because you like clean linen doesn't mean that that person likes clean linen, and vice versa. Just because they like lavender, or just because you like lavender, doesn't mean that they do. So just be considerate when spraying that because of medical conditions, and because sometimes the scents are just gross, to be very honest. Oh, and along with that, if you're making popcorn or food that has lingering food smells, just be sure to air the room out. Or my personal favorite is I put washing beads in water, and then the whole room will smell like the washing beads. But again, I made sure that my roommate was okay with the smell of the washing beads before I did that. It's not that you can't make whatever you want in your room, but it's just that, like, you know, when you walk into a movie theater and you just get that overwhelming smelling, wow, I can't speak today, overwhelming smell of popcorn, you don't want your room to smell like that. Popcorn kind of smells like feet after a while. To be very honest, it's just doing, especially like me, I know I love garlic flavoring, onion flavoring, seasoning, salt, like, just ask before, you know, bringing in fish and, what's something else that smells? Fish and popcorn into your room for dinner. Next we have clean up after yourself right after meals. 9 times out of 10, you have a common space where you're making the meals at. You may not be the only person hungry right now. Clean up your pans, wash all your dishes. Don't leave your dishes in there forever. Don't put noodles in the sink. If you do, you know, clean out the little drain thing. Just be considerate. Everything is being considerate of others, because not only is that your roommate, but that's like when I lived in my first dorm, we had one basement for all 13 floors, and that basement was the only area where we had to cook. So that's 13 floors of people who don't want noodles in their sink, who don't want the green beans you had left on the stove. Just clean up after yourself right after meals. I'm not saying you can't eat, you know, but don't take an hour to eat and don't take 2 hours to clean up after yourself, because someone else may be ready to cook and your stuff is still there. And then you'll also be frustrated if people move your stuff. So, you know, move your stuff so that no one has to. Oh, this is a big one. I know for me, I'm a night owl, but I prepared for that in coming to college. So, if you know that you like to go to sleep early, you should bring a eye mask cover, because the light may be on until all depths of the night, especially if you are taking hard classes and you are a hard major. Like, she was an accounting major and I was a nursing major. Those are both really hard majors. She went to bed early, and a lot of the times I accommodated to that, and by doing so, my bed was lofted all the way to the ceiling, and I had a privacy screen under my bed, so that way I could sit on my love seat and be able to have a small lamp on and be working on my computer, so that way I don't just have to sit in the dark with my computer like this close to my face. Also, bring a small lamp. Even if you don't have a privacy, I just had like, it was a privacy sheet. If you watch my dorm tour video, you'll be able to see that privacy sheet in the video. I got that from Walmart, which you'll be able to see in my dorm hall. So, even if you don't have a privacy sheet, just bring a small lamp, so that way the lights can still be turned off and that person can sleep more easily than they can with the big light on. And especially if you know you're a light sleeper, then tell that to your roommate when making things clear and telling them your expectations. I'm not saying that person can't stay up late, but, you know, don't be banging on pot and pans at 11:30. The next is the most important thing ever. Be able to vent. Be able to share your feelings with someone if your roommate is bothering you, if something is happening with your roommate. This is so important, so that way it doesn't just build up and just explode, because then that always ends terribly. Be able to talk to someone, your friends, your parents. Most colleges have counseling, so please, 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 please. The most important tip for having a roommate is be able to vent. Be able to even vent with your roommate, because sometimes you can be that close to your roommate to where that person is bothering you, then you can just confront them and be like, this needs to stop, and vent to them and tell them. And when that happens, listen to them and don't talk over them, and just be supportive that they got up the courage to tell you that things aren't going as well as planned. Being able to vent to someone can be the difference between losing your friendship with your roommate and things being really awkward, or saving the friendship and now you guys are continuing to be able to live with each other. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed these tips for living with a roommate or moving in with someone new. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. I hope you all enjoyed. Bye!